the deadline is day after tomorrow to register for it. I will show some of the interesting topics which may be of some of your interest. For me personally, I think there is plenty to pick from, and you don't have to be every day there. You can just go and attend the one you like. Our conference will not be translated, will not be available virtually. So take this opportunity to actually go and meet other members from other squadrons, ask questions, and meet new people, and so on and so forth. I think it's a great opportunity, and it's important for your development. So many of these classes have unique nature and can be done only in person. That's one. Second is, there was an announcement sent out for the opportunity to visit March Air Force Base Museum on September 24th. There is a cost of $15 to do that, and the sign-up paperwork was emailed to all the members. Please make sure you use COP email because this is how you get all the information, in fact. If you registered with your personal email, it doesn't mean you're gonna get all the notifications there. Please log into your COP email and reach out to Chris or myself if you have trouble accessing it. Quick reminder, there is a SAREC scheduled at French Valley Airport next weekend. I believe sign up is closed, but if you are interested and you met prerequisites for actual hands-on training for mission scanner or mission observer, let me know. I'll see what we can do about it. Quick update on my pilot onboarding. I completed G1000 check ride portion, and I completed all rides portion, but instructor didn't like my short field landings at Santa Monica Airport, so I will be redoing that. Chasing aircraft is interesting, and we will talk specifically on scheduling issues which we are having due to system change. With this said, I will take a few minutes and show the schedule for the WIN conference.
You need to switch it over to you.
Yeah, I'll switch it in a sec. And we can actually carpool. I will be driving there for the sessions I will be attending, and at some point we may actually carpool with another squadron who will be taking their van. So again, reach out to me, we'll figure it out.
Is there a schedule yet for the
Yeah,
I
will show it. It's available.
Because there's lots of little mini classes for any interest that you have in CAP. So.
And let me put it on Teams too.
You don't have to go to the whole conference. You can go to just whatever you want to go to. But you will have to check in and let them know you're there, and you've got to pay a fee of $15 or something.
Right. So the conference begins on Thursday, the 22nd, and will be for 3 days. First day, for example, you can see there is a class dedicated to flight simulators, AV STEM, and STEM Open Lab. This is probably targeting mostly cadet squadrons or composite squadrons. There is an airspace education officer school. I would love someone from our squadron to volunteer for this important job. We are required to have it.
Which one?
The airspace education officer.
Oh.
So please think about it. It's not that difficult. So that's one important one. Then there is a U.S. Air Force Resilience Training Workshop. They still have spots available. A very interesting session. You can review the details. It's a training to actually set your mind to, if you happen to be in difficult conditions, to actually survive in many cases. So I signed up for that. There is a Squadron Commander course. I will not be taking it because I took the virtual class and I'm just 4 sessions away from completing it. So it's been going well. So then there is a social event starting at 4 p.m. for 3 hours, which will be interesting. And Friday, what we have is, again, there is a simulator expo, so we can just go and check out. Actually, Win gives away those simulators. Those are basics, much more simple than the one we have, which I definitely...
By the way, we have one.
Yeah,
We haven't put it together.
we have another one.
Yeah.
Sounds good. We have to put it together then.
Yes.
The session dedicated to emergency services, what it used to be, how it looks like these days, and how it will evolve in the future, based on trends in TEP. The cadet training, the training leaders of cadets. So that's an interesting one for the, again, composite and cadet squadrons. Exercise planning, G1000 simulator. Actually, they will be giving away those G1000 simulators at the end. Mission alerting process. So for our mission alerting officer, that would be important session to attend. Planning P. Let's see what is that about. You always can go and review it in detail by yourself. It's a conference, cogcap.org/schedule. So I will post it to our Teams channel. Right there. You can always find it. Just go to, I'll switch to Teams sharing and demonstrate how to take the benefit of our Teams system. Going back, incident commanders meeting, SUS, program overview and updates, hybrid CPR first aid courses, probably will take that one. Airspace education officers forum, again, the social media and local relationships. So David, for you it would be great if you could attend, if you can make it there for that particular one. I think we need that at our squadron. Stop the bleed, I believe, is actually related to first aid, so another one. Use of Kahoot in the training, Canva Pro for professionals, etc., etc. So take a look, review. If you have any questions, let me know. Myself or Chris, reach out and ask the questions. It's Woodland Hills, close to Van Nuys.
What's the hotel?
I think it's Marriott, yes.
Marriott? Okay.
Let's see, it's all here. We may ask for some coupons, maybe, since they still didn't get full attendance. So
What, to stay there?
I'm not sure. Well,
For what?
yes, for Warner Center Marriott, the cost is at $142.75 per night, plus tax.
Right.
So that's standard stuff.
So you need to take your wife with you and go there and stay and write it off.
You can go to the gallery and spend money.
Yeah, or that.
That's right. Just give her the checkbook.
And if you fly in, there will be a shuttle actually from Burbank, Van Nuys, and Whiteman.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there are alternative options at higher priced Hilton Woodland Hills.
Just so you know, these things are pretty fun. There's you get to meet a lot of people that you'll interact with all the time. So I recommend going and at least doing one class or something, in there to help your career, or whatever, first aid class or maintenance class or anything you'd like. So communications classes.
I normally do all of this. The first one I haven't attended in Vegas,
Yeah.
but I got a meeting on Saturday. That Saturday.
Yeah, I have,
morning at Lake
I'm
Arrowhead.
not going to this one, but I've been to like the last 8, so.
But I didn't say anything on safety up there either.
I didn't
And
read
that was
I
through
didn't read the
Friday.
syllabus, so.
So we went Thursday and Friday, and normally it's there around
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday.
But maintenance, Gary
Maintenance
Cinnamons doing a
Saturday.
maintenance thing.
That's
and
Saturday then.
I should go to that, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so I believe the registration is not that expensive. It's $175, I believe, with dinner. But there are other options if I
That's
recall
for the whole
correctly.
conference.
Right.
There's other options if you wanna go to one day and one event,
Yeah.
they're very inexpensive.
And you can write it off as charitable contribution to Civil Air Patrol. Plus, you can write off your expenses staying there and driving there and back. So
58 cents a mile.
it's up.
Incurred come off the gross.
If I'm not mistaken, they raised the mileage expense to 60.5 cents. Yeah, and first half of the year. The second half of the year is higher.
Huh.
Complicated.
Only because it went up $2 a gallon.
Okay, so another quick demonstration for those online. So you can actually, I'll just share my screen. So install the Teams client on your computer. It could be Windows or Mac, or you can always use a web-based one. When you log into Teams using your CAP email, you will be member of our Squadron team, and there you will find specific channels. Some channels are private to committee members. For example, Finance Committee channel is only visible to those included in Finance Committee. Promotion Board membership committee, and so on and so forth, Public Affairs, etc. But there is a lot of channels open to everyone, and we can make them interesting based on members' feedback and your desires. We can create new channels in unlimited way and fill it with information which may be useful to us. In general channel, we will put announcements for standard meetings, for Nighthawk, and so on and so forth, sign up sheets for those, etc. So again, any questions, reach out to myself or Chris. All right, Mike, would you like to talk about?
So I'm going to talk about the scheduling changes that they just instigated. Let me change over to my channel here. For those of you that actually can see the monitor. So in the past, we were able to schedule an airplane, or several airplanes actually, without really having a mission number or a sorting number or anything like that. We could go into the scheduling program. We could drop down one of these boxes here, and in it would give us the ability to add another sortie, and we could block out the airplane for maintenance, or we could block it out for to be determined, or for a mission number. We can't do that now. The scheduling program only shows you what's on the schedule. So I'm going to, today's the 6th, I'm going to pick the 6th here. And if you see this, it's showing you the actual sorties. This is the mission number, sortie number. This is whoever scheduled it. And you can scroll up, and these are the aircraft that are scheduled for that day, right? You can see that there's many aircraft scheduled for that day, for this day, today, right? And that's what they're doing. So the scheduling program only shows you what's actually scheduled. So in the olden days, we could hold it. We could hold an aircraft for a couple, 3 days, or a week, or a month, whatever we wanted to do. And if the aircraft was broken, I could hold it and say, hey, look, it's scheduled for for maintenance, and people would go on and find out that it's scheduled for maintenance and they can't fly it. Now we can't do that. So here's another little tidbit. For you to see these aircraft, for you to see all these aircraft here, you have to actually go to update my preferences right there. These are the aircraft that I monitor, right? I've added each one of these aircraft, and I tell it over here that I want them to send me anything that happens on these things. So I have a scheduling alert for each one of these aircraft. And if you don't have them on your list, you will not see them on the schedule. This schedule here. See this? If I took those aircraft out of my list, my preference list, these would all disappear. So you're only seeing the aircraft that you put in your preference list, for one. Oh, is anybody watching on Teams? So first thing you need to do is go to this right here. It says update my preferences. And then you're going to add an aircraft. And you just add aircraft here, right? You got a drop down list. You go into California. And you notice right here it's empty. Does everybody notice that? That's because this is Civil Air Patrol software, and sometimes it doesn't work right. So you just scroll. You just scroll, if it worked right. Come on.
You click on 0 items first.
Huh?
Click on 0 items.
Oh.
Yeah, and then
All right.
it's showing an interesting list.
Now you scroll. Now you scroll and you can find the aircraft in the wing here, California wing, right? At the bottom of the list. Right? So there's, I don't know, 50 empty ones. Why are they empty? Does anybody know? Anybody here a programmer? It's whatever filter they have is not working correctly. So anyway, you find the one that you want. Let's say, what do I have? Is there anything missing? I think I've got everything in.
437 Charlie Pop.
It's in there. Yeah. 337 is 337. Yeah, 337's in there. 349. Almost every aircraft in Southern California is on my list because I watch them all the time for maintenance. And I always want to know. So anyway, to get on the schedule, you have to make a sortie. You have to create a sortie. And you used to be able to create sorties right in this menu here, but you can't anymore. They took that ability out. So now you have to go to Wimmers. And you're going to have to go to current missions. This one here. You're going to have to put a mission number in, whatever the mission number is. If you actually highlight this box, this list will come up, and these are all the mission numbers. Right? The green ones are active, the yellow ones are pending, and down at the bottom there should be some gray ones. Those are done. Right? So let's say that you wanted to go on California Miscellaneous, which is a self-funded sortie. So you find the California Miscellaneous. Where's my poker at? So you go down this list here, find California Miscellaneous. Right here. California Miscellaneous. Don't get it confused with PCR Miscellaneous. California Miscellaneous. Go across the board. There's 1,174 sorties that are already in it. That's okay, because that's a yearly sortie. Now, we come up with that. Here's our sortie request area. You're going to go to Add Power Sortie. And then you're going to come up with a blank thing here, and you're going to ask this drop-down box, tell it what kind of sortie it's going to be. It's going to be probably a C-17. It's a C-17 or C-12 for California. Anyway, so I picked a C-17. This is just a sample anyway. So you got to fill this out. And your your sortie will not show up on the scheduling program until you put in an estimated time of departure and this information here. So we're going to fill this out. Let's just say relocation. It's going to be, what's today? The 6th. So we're going to put it in for the 6th. We're going to say from KRAL to KRAL, which is Riverside Airport. We're going to leave sometime about 1500. And don't forget your minutes. And we're going to be out for 2 hours. So there'll be, what, 1700 and some minutes. Tail number. I'm going to put in here the one that's in maintenance just so you can see what happens. So November 809 Charlie Papa is in maintenance. And when you tab off of that field, it's going to say it's a 182. And it's going to give you, it's going to populate all the rest of the items here. And this is just basic stuff. Its home base is in Van Nuys. That doesn't matter. So right down here, I'm going to put my contact number. Right? And notice it's not taking anything else. It's not taking who the pilot is and who the observer is. It's not taking that stuff yet because I have to add the sortie to put the rest of the stuff in. But this is the basic information, right? And if you're going to do multiple days in a row, then you're going to fill this out right over here. Create however many sorties, however many days apart. So if you want to do 5 consecutive days, you say 5 sorties, 1 day apart, right? That's just going to help you so you don't have to do 5 separate ones. It takes a long time. So I'm going to say add sortie here, right? Now it comes up with down here, who's the crew going to be? I don't think you have to have the crew for the scheduling program. Let's go check. On the 6th, right? If you look up here, scroll down here, see if it's there. 809 Charlie Papa. That's Mike Swift. That's the one I just put in there. And now it shows up, right? So now everybody else can see that I'm going to use 809 Charlie Papa on that day at that time, right? It's 1500 to 1700. That's when I put it in there. So that's what you have to do every time you want to schedule an aircraft. Let me tell you, schedule your aircraft as soon as you know when you're going to be able to go. Whenever you can get an instructor, or if you're going to go by yourself or have a passenger with you, and you're going to want something to do 3 days from now, if the slot is available, schedule it. You can always cancel the sortie if you don't fly it, or you find out something else. You can change the dates. You can change all the information. Who's going to go, right? You can change everything. So get it in there and change it if you have to. All right?
Yes, one addition. You can actually start scheduling from this screen. If you go up on the top, there is a button available.
Schedule new sortie. I didn't see that. Thank you very much.
But you do have to know what mission number, under which mission you will be scheduling.
Yeah, so let's say if we say that, see now it says what mission number you want to do.
Right.
So it's
and it does like context search, if I recall correctly. So you start typing the mission.
I don't think that button was there the very first time I saw this thing.
Yeah, and originally you could go to the specific day and schedule from there, but they took that away. That was very convenient because you saw exact aircraft you were interested in.
Right.
Now you really have to memorize or create a chart somewhere of all the available aircraft.
So now you're going to have to be organized. You're going to have to know what you want to do, where you want to go, who you're going to go with, and to put it in your sortie. It's not a bad thing. You're going to get to be a more professional cap pilot, doing all this.
Maybe Mike.
So you have any questions about any of this?
Mike, I think it will be useful to explain how we can identify which aircraft is where.
Okay. Well,
I figured that out.
That's pretty difficult. But if you go back to my preferences up here, right?
you can see that it doesn't tell you. Well, that's a bust.
Yeah, that's pretty
Um,
challenging.
you can actually, here, let's do this. Let's go to the PRMA program. It's all about finding stuff. So, you know the PRMA program? Does everybody know that? Most of you? Okay.
That's
So now, this is the PRMRA program. Here's your aircraft information. So if you want to know a specific aircraft, you go look at the list here, right? Let's say we're using 743 Charlie Papa, right now, or we're going to be. So we'll go to that one. If you look right up here, it says where it lives, location, Palm Springs, right? That's where it actually is assigned to. Now, it may not be in Palm Springs that day. It may be here, but it's assigned to Palm Springs. So if you want to find out where it's at, do you know how to do that? Because I don't either. So
Track, do you have to go back to
Yeah.
scheduling?
you can track it.
one way I've done. You go to schedule. If your aircraft is already in your preferences, then you will see where it's presently located
Where? What?
in the scheduling module.
Okay.
So maybe it's not the actual location, but it's more or less accurate.
Let's do that. Let's see if I can get there from here. Back. Okay.
Well, you can see where they're scheduled. Where do you
See,
where can you see where it's?
the scheduling program doesn't tell you where it's at.
Yeah, you have to like flight radar it.
That's a good way.
That's a good option, actually. Yeah.
I've done it that way many times. I'll show you another way, by the way. So, see, it says here where it's at, where it thinks it's at. If the Garmin transponder, oh no, that won't work either. If the transponder is working right, it all thinks it's from its home airport, but it should tell you where it thinks it's at, by right there, right? So let's go find 743. Where's 743 at? Anybody know?
Yeah, it's PSP.
Huh?
On fifths, for example.
Which day?
On the fifths, it shows at PSP.
Okay. So 743 Charlie Papa, yeah. 743 Charlie Papa is at KPSP. Right? Now, to definitely know where it's at,
Yeah, currently.
go to
Yeah.
Wimmers.
Flight radar says it's there too. So.
Here's another way. Go to Wimmers. And then you may or may not have these permissions, but you go right here to report module. So you go to report module, aircraft log. See it right here? Aircraft log. Right? Pick the aircraft that you want. In other words, you got to scroll up until you find aircraft again. Excuse me, because my eyes are bad. Make sure you check this checkbox, right? And then say get log and the month. So right now, if you do that, at the end of the log, it tells you that Lon Olfert was the last guy that had it scheduled. He did not fly it. You go back up here until you find somebody that flew it. Right here. Adam Brooks, he was the last guy to fly it, right? Because there's numbers in his box, right? So then you have to go find the sortie right here. It's a long process, but at least you can find it. So 35, 40, 15, 16. Here's another method, right? FlightAware is probably faster. Right now?
Yeah.
743?
Yeah, but
It's
doesn't-
not.
It doesn't show today's data, it just shows yesterday.
Yeah. What 15, 14, I think it was. What was it was today's date, right? 6th, 5th. Anyway. What was the last day that thing showed?
Yesterday.
Huh?
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday? 5th? Okay, Adam Brooks. So if you go to the sortie and say edit, if my machine will work, right? You can see that he left Palm Springs and he came back to Palm Springs. So if you can find the last flight that he did, you can track it by doing that, right? So he's back in Palm Springs, 743, right? That's how I find it, for sure.
This is the most chaotic program I've ever run across.
Well, it's not a program, it's several programs.
It's
And you're
multiple.
right, it's hard to find stuff.
So why do they make it so difficult, and who came up with this idea?
Well, this is remember, this is evolving software from National, and some of it's Wing, right?
It's pretty normal for software development, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been around Civil Air Patrol for many years, and I've learned many little secrets, and I've showed you about 10 of them just tonight. There's other ways that you can find stuff. FlightAware is one of them. The problem with FlightAware is the tracks program. This is our CAP tracks program, right here. Right. If you want to find out the last flight that 743 did, you find out what day was the last time. You go into history, which is right there, and then you put in the in number and the day, and it'll show you the flight that day, just like Flight Trader will, right? But this is our program. So what else can I show you? Little secrets, idiosyncrasies. So anyway, the conversation is, you want to fly the aircraft next week and you know what day you're going to fly, make sure you secure your instructor, get that sortie in, and get on the schedule. That way the next guy looks at it and goes, oh, that aircraft is taken for that day.
Yes, and
Right.
actually this is a good demonstration of one of the hiccups currently active.
Yeah.
So see, before the recent change, it was possible to schedule this 2BD air sortie.
Right.
No longer possible. So, but it still shows the scheduling conflict for the sortie, which is active.
And
the pilot who scheduled it cannot remove it because those do not show on the schedule.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right.
But I ran into multiple conflicts trying to schedule aircraft, and just to make sure, you basically see who scheduled it on a first scheduling module. There is a phone number. Just call the pilot who scheduled it and clarify if they're going to use it or it's already outdated information.
Right.
So you do need to do something.
And that's all because of the software change from the one system to another.
And after a while, all those 2BD missions and sorties will be gone.
We'll
Naturally,
drop off the
we'll
schedule,
drop off the
right.
schedule, and it will no longer be an issue.
And there's no way for us to fix that, by the way.
Correct.
So,
So the good way to find who is the pilot scheduling it is either in the sortie specifically, all the way in the bottom, where it shows who is the pilot, right here. So it's Brooks and his contact information. So you can call or text this number, and they're usually pretty good responding. Or if you go in the scheduling module and you see who is taking the aircraft at a specific time slot, and there is a conflict, like for example today I was scheduling an aircraft for Friday, and the pilot booked 2 aircrafts at 2 different airports at the same time under 2 different missions. So obviously he cannot fly at the same time here and there. One at John Wayne, the other one at Whiteland. At 6 p.m. it's impossible. So I called him and he said, oh yes. And he dropped off his schedule at John Wayne. So he prefers the G1000 aircraft at Whiteland.
yeah.
So don't be afraid to reach out to this pilot, even if it's Lieutenant Colonel Newton who scheduled it for multiple aircraft. Just email him.
I don't know how the new system works, but you as a pilot, I don't think you can cancel somebody else's flight.
I cannot cancel
You
somebody
can't. You
else's.
used to be able to,
Yes,
but you
old
can't anymore.
system allowed that.
Right, but the
Now you
flight
have
release
to-
officer, which is I'm the flight release officer for most of the flights in Group 3, I can cancel most flights. So in other words, if we have a conflict, I can go in and push the cancel button and get rid of that flight for you and free it up. So
Yeah. But just keep in mind, we are volunteers. We all pursue our specific goals, unless it's a mission scheduled for Air Force sortie of any sort, maybe search and rescue, maybe counter-drug mission, etc. Most of these sorties are just training, and sometimes pilots schedule multiple sorties and forget about it. So call them up, email them,
Yeah.
do whatever it takes.
if you want at a certain time and you think it's really important to you, call that pilot up, because he may say, it's not that important to me. You can go ahead and take the aircraft. And he'll take his sortie out, you'll put your sortie in, and you'll get the aircraft. Because, we're all here doing the same thing. We're all training, we're all going, stepping the ladders up, so. And most people are pretty nice people, so go ahead and do that. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? I know that I went over it pretty fast, but if you have any questions, go ahead and call me. I can walk you through it on the computer, or I can help fix it for you, or anything. So,
And also call me if Mike is unavailable. I can explain it to you. I can again jump the computer and walk through all the steps. It's a little bit challenging first few times, and then scheduling is one. Then after you schedule it, you have to brief it, assign flight release officer, make sure your flight is indeed released before you fly, and close it by debriefing and by putting the cost as applicable. If you fly on your own funded missions, your responsibility is just to fill it up to the mission ready status. You don't have to put maximum fuel into the aircraft. And if it's a funded sortie, then you just use the card included in the book with the aircraft to the amount, again, required for the next successful mission. All right. So, Chris, would you like maybe to cover again those operational qualifications steps?
Oh,
Yeah, so
Chris.
basically the
Chris.
idea is to enable our new members to do the right steps to become mission scanners, orientation pilots, observers, etc. So step by step, what is involved?
let's see here. I mean, you're referring to pilot onboarding, or
Well, yes. So for pilot onboarding, there are prerequisites. So maybe let's walk through all the steps.
well, the prerequisites for scanner as well. I think you were mentioning.
Yes. Yeah, and scanner is a prerequisite for the pilot.
Right.
Yeah.
let's see. Got that. All right. I'm trying to think. We've got a couple. I've got it listed in a couple different areas. That's why I'm trying to think about how we're going to do this. Well, let's start with. I know we have. You want to figure out how to do GES. So one of the things we would definitely want to start with is there's prerequisites when you join Civil Air Patrol, and those prerequisites are you got to complete the OPSEC requirement, which is just basically how we protect our information here in Civil Air Patrol. You have to do that, or you'll never get access to e-services. So I make the assumption that when you get the email that you've joined, that's the first thing you got to do is get your OPSEC qualification, which allows you to log into eServices. Once you log into eServices, the primary place you're going to spend a lot of your time, and I've got shortcuts, so if you're looking at the screen or whatever there, I've got a lot of shortcuts, but I'll show you where you go is the menu, and let's see, let me zoom this up for everybody here, for the mics in the audience.
I can't even see that, so
Really?
that's why I have to get close and point at it.
Huge. Anyways, so when you're in eServices, you're going to go to the menu. In the menu, you're going to go to Online Learning. And in Online Learning, there's a Learning Management System. And that's where we're going to go. Now, this part it's a little confusing because there are certain courses that are here, but the wide majority of the courses that you're going to take in Civil Air Patrol, you want to click on Go to Access. When you click on Go to Access, and this is really the only way to get in here because it authenticates your login from eServices. You can't go directly to eLearning or it's going to jump you through eServices anyway. But this portal is where you're going to end up, and you're going to spend most of your time in level 1 in here. Now, I've completed level 1, so I can't show you the way it looks exactly on your system, but what will happen is over here in this right section where it says level 3 training, for me, it'll show level 1 training. And level 1 training will have all the training that you actually need to do to complete your level 1. Now, there's a couple of things in here, and I think if I look at my, you have your transcript, so you can see everything you have done. In the transcript section, and it's in no particular order.
So once starting with L1.
Well, is it in there? Because there's some things that aren't in here. Oh, I guess they are there. Okay, good. So yeah, starting with level 1. So Cadet Production, which obviously some of you may have been pinged for me previously, and the Diversity EO, the Equal Opportunity and Non-Discrimination. Those are all prerequisites for any member of Civil Air Patrol, any active member of Civil Air Patrol. Have to get those done. Can't really progress until those are done. Everything else is part of the level 1 curriculum. So expectation of volunteers, introduction to Civil Air Patrol missions. I'm not going to read them all, but it gives you the basis of here's a lot of stuff going on in Civil Air Patrol, and here's the beginnings of all of it, right? Understanding our chain of command and customs and courtesies and things like that. Once you've completed the requirements for level 1, there's like 2 sections where everybody gets hung up on, and one of them is you have to talk to one of us on the command staff to make sure that you've got your Cadet Protection program basic completed and that you understand what the program is and how to avoid getting having problems, how to report issues. Any senior member of Civil Air Patrol can report a problem in the Cadet Production service, so we want to make sure that you've done all that. And the second thing is we kind of have to find a job for you. So a lot of you already have duty assignments, but if you don't, that's a conversation either with me or with Andre or with Mike. We'll kind of figure out what you want to do. We tend to try to shy people away from things they do in their professional life unless they're very specific. So in the case of things like if you're a lawyer, if you're a CPA, or if you're a medical professional, we tend to kind of keep you in those areas because that's where the most value you're going to get. Unless you absolutely don't want to do it and you hate doing it, then we'll find another duty for you. But we'll assign a duty track. And the other thing that's really confusing for people in the level 1, completing the level 1, is what we call the pathing. And there's nothing to be confused about because there's a display that we see that confuses everybody. But really what it is how you came to be a senior is really what it boils down to. Were you a cadet prior? That's one option. I'm hoping everybody can hear me here. Were you a cadet? Oh. Were you prior military? Or are you just a new senior, like, just walked in off the street? Or are you a professional? So when they say professional, things like lawyer, doctors, I think you're going to also be in professional as well. But the medical professionals, the CPAs, legal, things like that, those are all the professional path. All that really changes is going forward with level 2 and beyond, it changes some of the courses that you take. That's really it. But the main thing is to get in here and knock out level 1. The other thing, and I think there's a couple of questions that were coming up, is when you get into emergency services. So if you're looking at onboarding, especially pilot onboarding, there are some general emergency services requirements. They are going to be here in Access. So remember, e-services, online learning, learning management system, Access. That's the order to get into this part. And then you're going to want to go and find, now if it's not popping up for you, which it probably won't because you're not necessarily assigned to it, you're going to go into the course catalog. And again, it won't be here for me because I already completed it. But in the course catalog, you can literally see every single course that's offered, right? What you will find in here, and again, you won't see it for me, but you'll find somewhere in this section CAPT GES 166, which is the General Emergency Services. Everyone who's going to do anything in the emergency services part of Civil Air Patrol needs to complete that first.
That's the part 116?
Yes. Then there are, and I would advise you, if you're going to go in and just do that and knock it out on a night or a weekend, just go ahead and do the 117s as well. They're short, they're sweet, and you're going to need to do them later on in your emergency services. So
There's 2 parts to the 117.
yeah, well, part 2 and part 3 or something like that, even though they,
Oh, there is 3 parts. Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's like kind of weird how they do it. But if you look at my transcript, it probably will show that.
See, my transcript doesn't show anything because I did it all.
You did it all before it existed. See?
Yeah.
So there you go. So 116 is required for everybody doing anything, and even if you're not going to be air crew, you want to be ground crew, you want to fly drone, you want to do base staff, you've got to complete 116 general ES. The 117s, they're not required that you do part 1, 2, and 3, but you will find the longer you're doing things and getting qualifications, they may require 1 or 2 or 3 for various reasons. That's why I would just knock them all out. They all complement each other. Just some of them are more tuned to ground team. I think part 1 is ground team. Part 2 is air crew.
Don't forget
remember.
aircraft ground handling.
I'm getting there.
Has to have that.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So that's we're still covering things that are required, right? So the other thing is, because if you do want to be air crew and you want to be around the aircraft and you want to hang out in aircraft and do cool stuff, you're going to need to do well, we have aircraft professionalism, which is a little different, but the one I'm looking for specifically is aircraft handling, ground handling.
Look under pilot category.
Man, trying to think where they put that.
Go all the way up to the top. There's a drop down menu there. There was
Yeah, I think it's
on the course catalog.
yeah, but it's like I know I've completed it, so it should. Oh, there you go. I guess because we have to do it
You
periodically.
have to do it every year.
Yeah. So again, Access, if you haven't really played around in Access quite a bit, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Not all of it's required, but aircraft guide handling, we do require that to be around the aircraft and be in the aircraft. But as you go in here, you'll find all kinds of neat stuff in here. If you're a pilot and you, for instance, remember Andre just said he did his G1000. The G1000, there's a course in here. There you go. There's a bunch of G1000 courses that will get you familiar with the G1000 if you haven't used one before, or if you haven't used one for IFR, or if you haven't used an NXI. There's a transitionary course, and so every once in a while, pop in here, see what's going on. That's one thing I'll say about Access is I've taken a bunch of courses for no apparent reason other than I was bored and I had time and I just wanted to learn about stuff. Most of them won't give you credit that way, but if there are requirements, like I said, if you're on a level, so most of you will be level 1 or level 2, something like that, you will have a separate tab, just like you see over here. I have a separate tab And that lists all the training that you have required in that section. So as you see, level 3 is pretty, there's lots of stuff going on in level 3. Also, when you get a duty assignment, the system will automatically assign you courses based on your specialty tracks. This one, mine's slightly broken. The first 2 were stuck from level 2, but I don't know why they won't go away. But you'll see, there's iCut, there's remember we talked about the water survival course coming up, so that's in there. And then I'm a specialty track for both personnel and information technology. And you'll note one that's missing is I'm the personal development officer, but we're no longer called personal development officers, we're called ETs. And ET doesn't necessarily have a specialty track, so figure that one out. So while we're on the subject of, quirks in the system, that's one of them.
Another quirk.
Right. So that will get you well on the way. Now to finish out for pilot onboarding, finish level 1, sign off, get your path assigned, do GES, at least GES 116. But I would go ahead and do 117s as well. They're very quick. Aircraft ground handling. Once you've got all those done, you're kind of well on your way for training and find an instructor. Good luck finding a plane. Go train. What else? Did I show where it pops up in ops calls?
Yeah.
Okay. So another fun quirk of the system is you can't, once you're in the learning management system, there's no way here for you to get back. So you'll just open a new tab like I always do.
And it has its own timeout.
And yeah, e-services will log you out if you sneeze and you don't click a button fast enough. It's part of the OPSEC, I think. Okay, so we've talked before, and I know I've given several things about ops quals. Get used to ops quals because as you're training to be a scanner or communications, anything emergency services related, those are going to be qualifications that you gain, as well as those of you that are pilots. You'll also be familiar, you should be familiar with ops quals because that's where you'll be uploading your logbook entries. I'll just go there and show you. So again, I have it hotkeyed, but the quicker way to get there is menu, operations, operations qualifications. Once you're in here, you go, what's that screen mean? And you'll find there's a theme to most e-services screens. Is if you don't know what you're doing, you're just kind of screwed. Now you can click on instructions, but that won't help you. Everything, when you see screens like this, always look for that purple arrow in the upper left-hand corner. That's going to get you where all the goodness is. So those of you that are pilots or training to be pilots, near the bottom of this, there's a pilot section. And like I said, it's no secret data. Put your cap ID in there. And you'll be going in here. Now, ops quals are always a two-step process. I am a private pilot, single engine land, so I'll select that checkbox. And you'll see also I have a drone pilot certification. I'm not an instructor. I have an active medical. You'll be clicking on all of these things, or at least filling them in. Or if you have basic med here. Now, this is weird. I don't know why they put that upload there. If you're military, same here, upload your military ID. However, and your flight review data, wings program data, all this stuff, you'll select that stuff. What happens when you select it, it doesn't say it gives it to you. It goes into a pending state. And it will go up to group, then sometimes to wing for a validation of, is that actually something that you have? The way that we check that is up here under your name. Once you've logged into OpsQuals, the view and upload document section. So when you click on that, now I got to zoom back out again because it's going to screw that screen up. There you go. You have this super confusing box that's like, what am I doing here? For most of us, especially if you're in the pilot side of the house, you're going to be selecting what am I uploading, right? So this is, again, you saw Wimmers and how confusing that is, and then you're going to see this and how confusing it is, and they don't share data, and it's really exciting. But for the most part, your FAA certificate, right? Are you a pilot? Are you a student pilot? You know, that you're a drone pilot. You're going to select the type. I don't think you need to do type necessarily unless you really feel like doing that. I just leave it blank in most cases, but I think you can actually select 172, things like that, if you really want to put that in there. I don't think you guys look at that because it's all going to,
we look at everything.
it's going to look at the logbook entry anyway, which has your type certifications in there. But anyways, and then you find your file in the case of, you know, hopefully you've taken a picture of it or you have a scan or something like that. Select your file, upload pilot files. And here's a fun feature of this is it does crazy stuff with the names. Like you can't choose a radical name for it. Like, hey, this is my PPL SEL. You can't do any of that. So it just uploads it and stomps on the one in front of it. So you then, the person has to validate this, has to come in and click on all these to see which one it actually is. But
Typically, I go by date, so the
hopefully,
newest date is the one I open up.
hopefully. But you'll see, like in the case, I finally figured out at one point, oh, you can change the name of some of these. So, you know, UAS back and front. So at least somebody's validating my drone entry. They can go, oh, okay, he's a drone pilot. All right, cool. This is the section they use to validate your data. So if you have complex high performance endorsements, your hours, so your 100, 200, 300, all of that, that's a matter of taking a picture of the appropriate page. Like if it's your logbook entry, it's going to be usually your last page. Just this is how many hours I've got. If you got endorsements, you'll take a picture of the endorsement. Don't be fooled. At the bottom of this FAA page, these are not referring, not this one, this one. This is not referring to 14 CFR 6187 FAA. These are referring to Civil Air Patrol solo. So don't ask me how I found that out. Because I was like, yeah, I'm a solo pilot, whatever. And they're like, no, that's the Civil Air Patrol one. So anyways, so that's one thing that we don't normally, we kind of gloss over it, but there is some stuff in here, and it's not really straightforward to look in here and see, to upload the information that they need to validate if you're ready. And obviously your flight reviews go in here. So every time you get your flight review, you need to click on it once again down here in the...
If you need any help on anything that has to do with any of the CAP software, please contact Andre or Chris or myself to help you out.
It's we know it's confusing.
and that's what we're doing. We're mentoring you, so feel free.
So anyway, so that's the first part of op calls I want to show. Second part, because that's all wonderful FAA stuff. The next part is getting into your Squitter SQ2R. So I'm not even going to try to remember what Squitter means. So I was gonna. I'm sure there's a fun acronym for it. So we'll click on Squitter entry. I'll replay that for everybody. Again, the upper left. This is the Squitter entry worksheet. That's what we're clicking on. Special. Yeah, what they said. So once you're in this section, you'll see the functional area. You don't really ever need to change that. It's always going to be set to emergency services. I think there's very rare cases where OPSEC doesn't show up, but don't worry about that part. The main part is the achievement. So most of you are going to need first, where'd it go? GES. Should be up here. There you go. So when you take the access course for General Emergency Services 116 and you get a 70% or higher or 80% or higher, I can't remember what the score is, it will automatically update the OPSQual system and say, you have now completed your level 1. Well, I've completed level 1. You'll go to this next one where it'll say, you've completed that test successfully. You'll also notice up here, you know, cadets can earn this as well. So that's why you'll see the grayed out Achievement 1 Curry, which as a cadet, they need to complete their Curry and complete 116. When they do both, they now have completed their General Emergency Services requirement. So this is the first step in almost all the rest of the general emergency services, and I'll demonstrate that by showing you Mission Scanner, which all of you who want to be a transport mission pilot or a mission pilot one day, and I'll show you this, what the main requirement is you need to be a mission scanner. You'll start to see that these have dependencies. And what's neat about the dependencies is they do rely on each other. Now, mine looks a little different because I am a mission observer, so it's just going to show the renewal tasks, but even then, I'll be renewing as an observer or a pilot, so these will auto kind of check off. But the way these all show up is normally, in fact, let me go to one that's not, I'll get to that in a second. Anyways, you'll see mission scanner, one of the requirements we have, aircraft ground handling. So that's why Colonel Swift brought that up, is even though you have GES, you still have to have aircraft ground handling. You won't see it here, but it does require GES, but it's because I'm already certified. It's not showing that. There's something called famine prep. Ooh, Mike's showing
A secret.
He's showing secret stuff over here. Okay. So anyways, there you go. So now you see in the mission scanner, you're required to have general emergency services complete. You need to be at least 18 years old. Wonderful. Which is interesting. That means that cadets can't be full scanners, huh? That's interesting. Man, I didn't know that. I thought they could be scanners. Man, there you go. So once those two are complete, you contact Andre or myself or Mike, and you say, hey, I want to be a mission scanner, and you click in, well, I don't think it'll do it. Yeah. This box it'll show up more like one of these boxes down here, one of these gray boxes, and you'll click inside of it and put usually Andre's cap ID, but when you send it to him, all three of us will get a copy of it, and any one of us can approve you for it. That's the first step for pretty much any ops quals that you want to do or you're interested in, is the commander approval. Because in a really large squadron, they try to, put people in specific paths, and they don't want everybody crunching down one path. We're not that way. We need you to be a mission scanner. We need you to be pilots. We need you to get in there and do stuff. So we're not going to sit there and do a lot of that. But that's the first step. Once you've been approved for prerequisites, the next part is famine prep. So there's a SARX coming at French Valley. The SARXs are your primary opportunity to start checking these boxes off.
Actually, the famine prep has to be done before you go to a SARX.
Well, some of them will allow you to do it though, like ground team. They've been saying as long as if you don't have it, you'll do it here.
Some of the famine prep for the ground team stuff is done at the site.
Sometimes, but
typically the scanner stuff is.
Oh, that's right. You know what?
Prep has to be done before you go.
You know what? And that's
the second set.
Yeah. Beneath that
is the advanced training. That's what you do at the SARX.
There you go. No, that's cool. Yeah, because I forget. I was here. We did a scanner training weekend, so most of us came in, and I.
Do that with me, or?
Yeah. Well, Roy and.
Oh yeah. That one.
Okay. So, yeah, there's famine prep, which is, we've got it down here somewhere. Yep. There we go.
Just so you know.
In this book.
Yeah.
That's all that stuff.
Yeah. Just so you know, I offer private tutoring for scanners.
Pilots takes about 5 hours, and non-pilots takes about 2 days to do this famine prep for scanner. So just make sure that you get a hold of me. I'll do it on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. And in case nobody's hearing that, because our microphones are out, if you're looking for mission scanner training, the famine prep part, Mike has graciously offered to mentor people through it. If you're already a pilot, it goes pretty quick, takes about a day or at least an afternoon, let's call it, a long afternoon. If you're a non-pilot, it's going to take probably 2 of those sessions. Because, the difference being a pilot already knows a lot of the information that we're going to talk about. And because think about it this way, a mission scanner, even if they're not a pilot, they're in the aircraft. So they need to understand certain things about what's going on in the aircraft and around the aircraft, and how can I be a good crew member If you're a pilot, you already know those things. If you're not a pilot, we got to teach you airspace and communications and so charts, all that kind of stuff. So that's famine prep. So Mike has graciously offered to mentor people through that. Once that part is done, again, there's another gateway where Andre will sign off and say, "Yep, you're good." Then you're ready to go to a SARAX. And the whole purpose of a SARAX at this point is to get these things checked off. And we've talked about before, and I'm not going to go into it tonight, but we've talked about before how you look up these tasks. Because like if I zoom in on one, you'll see complete task, Oscar 0205. That corresponds to an aircrew task list item in here, and it will tell you exactly what you should know and how you will be tested to know that you know. And you'll want to go into a SARAX, and you'll see, like in mine, where the date and the person, it's usually the mission pilot that you'll be with, but it's the person that is going to sign off that you completed that task successfully. And in the case of a SARAX, you'll see it actually has a mission number as well. So these are, the first parts of Civil Air Patrol when you're getting in and qualifying and doing all this neat stuff. This is going to be your bread and butter all in here, is looking at these tasks, making sure you can do them, and then having somebody. Now, it's not just anybody. It has to be someone who is certified to actually say that you've done this task correctly, and those are called sets. And there's a way to look up sets and whatnot, but when you get closer to going to a SARAX, that's something you definitely want to talk to one of us about. Because the worst thing is you put some time and effort into scheduling and going to a SARAX because you will be there for all day. They start early in the morning, and it's the worst thing is, and it's very military-ish. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. You'll get there early. You won't get into a plane until 9 o'clock. Then it takes an hour to launch the plane. Then you'll have to come back early because someone threw up in the plane. It's going to be that kind of thing. So you go through all of that, and then you don't get your sign-off. That's like the worst part of it. So always make sure that whoever you're flying with, they can either sign you off or they're willing to tell a person who can sign you off that you did these tasks. Very important. And then you'll also see in here, there's a couple things at top here. The IS 100, the IS 700. For a mission scanner, we also have to complete those two very basic FEMA training sessions. Those are familiarizations with the ICS, the Incident Command System, and the NIMS, which is the National Incident Management System. They go together. ICS is part of NIMS, but you have to understand them at a basic level. And that's required for mission scanner training. When you go on to your transport mission pilot and mission pilot, you'll be taking higher level versions of those. If you go into base staff, you'll be taking even higher versions. And obviously getting into the FEMA training, I can help you with all that as well, because you will have to go to the FEMA training website, register for a FEMA student ID, and you'll be taking those courses either online or in person at the higher levels to get your FEMA sign-offs for the IS. But the IS 100, 200, 700, and 800 are all online. So they're, you study, you take the test, you got to score at least, I think it's 70 or something like that.
Don't forget to download and save your certificate.
Download and save your certificate and upload it in that section we saw earlier with all the crazy upload stuff. You'll want to put your ICS uploads in there because that's how we verify that you've completed that task. So a lot of stuff. And like I said, I mean, I'm more than happy to go through all this. I mean, especially it's a fire hose. It's always going to be a fire hose. I've done a lot of it. I haven't done most of it. I haven't done the higher level stuff. But at this point, I've taken most of the higher level FEMA stuff at this point. I've taken a lot of these courses so I understand the system so I can help you with it. So it's either myself or Mike or Andre, any one of us, shoot us an email. We can jump on Teams. We can come in here and just, let's just knock it out. But most of this early stuff, and this is all the pilot onboarding part, is we want to get you through Mission Scanner, because once you've completed Mission Scanner, which will usually take you at least one SARAX, once you're done with that, now if you have enough hours, you're ready to be transport mission pilot and start that training. But remember, at any time, you can take Cap VFR pilot, that's what I'm going to be doing. I don't have enough hours, so I'm going to be doing Cap VFR pilot, getting certified to fly the planes, and then once I get enough hours, then I'll be going up to mission transport and mission pilot. So, not required for VFR pilot. Mission scanner. Yeah, mission scanner is required if you're going up to be transport mission pilot or higher. And there's not, we focus on pilots, but there are base staff positions as well. So in the base staff positions, this is the exact same thing. So as an example, mission staff assistant. So here's a good example of one I haven't completed yet. So I've completed the prerequisites, which is GES. So once you complete GES, you're ready to be a mission staff assistant. We get Andre to sign off on it. Then you start doing your tasks, FAM and prep, right? So I've done all those. Now I have to attend a SARX and actually be a mission staff assistant. Twice. So, which,
Actually, you can do that in one day. The mission staff assistant.
Just run different jobs.
you just have to do
But you have to do 2 one-day jobs.
Two
to
yes.
sign both your exercises.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah. So this is an example of that's how you do it. So I'm working my way through it. I have to actually go to a SARX, do the job of mission staff assistant, and then do hopefully 2 different jobs on 2 different days, and that will complete my mission staff assistant, which then allows me to start taking other base staff positions and then start training for them. So there's a common theme on how the ops quals work in that fashion. Let's see, what else do we want to cover? There's always so much to cover.
You may not be able to do.
Well, it's quarter after, so we can cover.
Oh,
more
you know
next
what? I couldn't even see that bar over there. Okay, yeah.
You may not have a SARX this weekend because it may fall within the TFR of
The big fire.
Be aware.
Yeah,
Check with it the last minute.
yeah,
There may be weather issues as well.
yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Just so everybody knows, I'm gonna be here at Riverside Base for the wing communications exercise, which is on the 17th and 18th of September. I'll be here in the capacity of the mission safety officer remote. There should be some comm people in the comm room working that same mission. I hope somebody will be using our comm room. But it's, like I said, it's gonna be remote, so there's gonna be me and whoever's in the comm room. It's not gonna be a group of people, just so you know. So I'm trying to get my mission safety officer renewed, so that's what I'm doing this weekend. Or then, excuse me, the following weekend.
Following weekend. That the
Yeah.
communication
So
exercise.
that's gonna
right?
be Saturday, 17th.
It'll be Saturday and Sunday, 17th and 18th,
All right.
of September. There's the other SARXs coming up at French Valley Airport. That's actually a training SARX. Our aircraft, just so everybody knows, 743 Charlie Papa is at Palm Springs right now. They're gonna be complete with using that tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Thursday, Wednesday night, it's gonna be transferred down to here, put in our hangar. Thursday morning, they're gonna take it out and put the latch, spring latch and connection in there for the repair. That'll be done. Then Friday morning, it's going to French Valley Airport for the SARX for the weekend, and then Monday or Sunday night, it'll be flown back here for us to use. So if you're gonna need a flight in the 743 Charlie Papa, get it scheduled for the next week. All right?
All right.
All right.
And with that,
Very good. Thank you.
And by the way, that stuff changes every 2 hours, so 2 hours ago, it wasn't the same.
Yes, and thank you all. Next week we will have a safety meeting, so that's one of the mandatory meetings. So please be here or virtually online if you cannot attend in person. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
so that
Yeah.
is a square away for GS.
Yeah.